Thank you for coming in today. We would like to review the portion of the plan that is about funding Tommy's education and how we will save for that. We took the assumptions that you gave us in our first meeting, which is that you want to fully fund Tommy's education at the University of Texas and in Austin for 5 years, and he will attend when he's 18. So the first thing we wanted to look at is the savings vehicle you are using. Currently you have 3 529 plans, one for Tommy, one for Madison, and one for Mason. The main issue with 529 plans, they are great savings vehicles for funding college education, but any remaining balance in that 529 plan is fully taxable and receives a penalty if you withdraw it for non-qualifying expenses. So that means Tommy's is good, but Madison and Mason's will be fully taxable and receive a 10% penalty if you withdraw it just to give them the money. But a benefit of 529 plans is you can change the beneficiary with no penalty or taxes paid. So we would be able to change the beneficiary of Madison and Mason's plan to Tommy without any penalty. This would mean that you would have $90,000 in 529 plans for Tommy, and then you could just take cash to give to Madison and Mason for them to have the balance of the account. We have allocated $10,000 each based on your cash flow to reflect in your cash flow statement for this year, based on what extra cash flow was showing after your income and expenses had been evaluated. You cannot give them more than $15,000 a year without paying gift taxes, and so we recommend not doing over that amount in order to give them that $30,000 each. So the next thing we wanted to look at is what savings vehicle you were actually invested in. You're currently in the Texas 529 plan. However, you do not have to live in the state in order to invest in that state's plan. So we looked at the top 10 529 plans and did a comparison. The first thing we wanted to look at is that to make sure that they had the age-based option available. What this means is that the investments will automatically become more conservative based on the age of the child. There are different brackets that the investment portfolio follows, and it is specific to each plan. But the main thing we wanted to make sure is that the age-based option is available, because this is the best way to ensure that you get a good return at the beginning, but you also are more conservative towards the end to make sure the funding is still there. It also allows us to be less active with the investment options. And it allows you to have a good diversified portfolio in these 529 plans. All of the options we looked at have the age-based option available, and that is what we want to use for investment purposes. We also wanted to make sure that they had online access and online enrollment available. They all do. This allows you to make all of your transactions online for ease of use. The next thing that we looked at, which ended up being the deciding factor, is the fees. So there are program management fees and there are expense ratio fees. These are the biggest thing because these take away from the return and income that you earn on the investments. We want to make these as minimal as possible so that you get the most from your investments. The Texas 529 plan has the highest expenses and fees. So we want to look at what is out there that could be cheaper. What we ended up deciding had the lowest fees and the best available options was the California 529 plan, which is called the Scholar Share College Savings Plan right here. and you can see these expenses and fees are really low compared to the Texas fees. You can take this home if you'd like to review and do your own analysis or see where we got this information. I can answer any questions you have. So then we did a needs analysis. What this means is we took the assumptions that we have today, and then we took, assuming that you chose the California plan and transferred everything to the California plan, we took the age-based option investment returns and used those returns to look at how much you would need to save annually to fund his education. We assumed that you would want to continue funding throughout his education, but provided that you make all of your deposits at the end of the year, you would not want to make a deposit in that final year since tuition is due at the beginning of the year. So here we have an assumption that the current college cost is $21,130. This includes tuition, room and board, book fees, any qualifying expenses that are allowed to come out of the 529 plan, tax and penalty free. This estimation comes directly from the University of Texas website. So then we took this amount and we used the college inflation rate of 6% to inflate this tuition out to what we believe it would be, at least an estimate of what it would be when he was 18. The reason we use this inflation rate is college expenses annually increase by more than the current inflation rate or the wage inflation rate. They're very expensive. So for this reason, we use an inflation rate of 6%. So by the year that of 2023, when he turns 18, we expect tuition to be $28,277. So in order to find out how much you need to save, we took this tuition inflation rate and inflated it out, and then we took your beginning balance of $90,000, assuming you moved all of the funds over into Tommy's name, and then we used the interest rates based on the age-based option, and then we tried to figure out what annual deposit amount you would need to have an ending balance after the last tuition is paid of $0. We came up with a deposit amount of $4,702. We put this amount into your new cash flow statement for your new expenses that would be coming out of your savings every year. So we could also look into saving more. We could look into increasing the savings annually so that you don't have to save as much up front. We could save more up front. There are different options we could look at if you were interested, but this was just the assumptions we made so that you would have a consistent deposit amount and it would be the cheapest deposit amount available because we let it go through while he was doing his education. So then the other thing we need to look at is the fund money that you wanted him to have, which was $3,000 a year per year he was in college. Because this is not a qualifying expense, you cannot put this money in a 529 plan, but we can put it in a money market fund, which is just like a savings account, but can earn a higher interest rate. For this reason, we think you should invest it in that money because it is only 5 years out, so we want to be able to easily access this money. If you wanted to deposit the same amount every year and do the same thing as you did with the education funding and fund it every year through college except for the last year, you would need to find $1,600.67. $1,000.660.
It's okay, ma'am. I understand.
$1,667 a year
Okay.
at the end of the year every year, and then we also assume that you withdraw this $3,000 at the beginning of the year. We assumed an interest rate of 0% because we don't know how high of an interest rate you can get on the money market fund. But once you figure that out, we can adjust it accordingly and see how much you need to save in. Because you get such a low rate on those accounts, on any savings account and money market fund, it's really not going to affect your deposit amount that much because you're not depositing that much into the account. So this will get you the total $15,000 that you'll need to fund that $3,000 a year for 5 years into the account, but do it over more years instead of having to pay out that $3,000 during the college years. So all of these new payments are reflected on your new cash flow statement that we've included at the back of your total plan. And these assumptions are made that you will begin making these payments and move this money around this year before the end of the year with the excess cash flow that you have that has not been accounted for or allocated to a certain place. If you have any questions about how you want to do this plan, or if you have any changes you want, or any questions, anything you want to talk about, we're happy to discuss this with you. So please feel free to take these documents and get back to us with any questions.